Hello everybody, this is Sid Nasty, and today we have so much to go over. I'm going to try and make sure that this video is not like 40 minutes long. Alrighty, so yesterday Bungie revealed a Stasis trailer for Destiny 2, and it was at the Xbox game reveal event that happened on the 23rd. This trailer is absolutely jam-packed worth of awesome stuff. But today I'm not really going to be going through all of the stuff that you see right in front of you in the trailer. I'm going to try and pick out a lot of the stuff that may have been missed, and then also kind of speculate a little bit, go through my thoughts. Me and my buddy King Spartacus, we went through the whole trailer pretty much frame by frame and just tried to look at everything, take in everything, and see if there was stuff we could have missed. And obviously we were totally right. There's so much stuff that we missed, and honestly, some of it is absolutely mind-blowing. So without any further ado, we're going to get into it. And the first thing we're going to do is a little bit of weapon speculation. So in the trailer, you see these red and blue weapons, very similar to the one that Bungie had showed a screenshot of during their live event or their live stream. And they didn't say what kind of weapon archetype it fell into. Kind of looks like a shotgun, kind of looks like a scout rifle. But in the trailer, there are weapons, and I say weapons plural because I think it's a whole set, but there are weapons that look very similar to that weapon, having the same red and blue sort of design. So what we see is that looks to be two different sets of weapons. And we've kind of speculated that one is going to be the planetary weapons, so the Europa weapons. And then we think that the second set is going to be the Deepstone Crypt raid weapons. We also think that we're shown the exotic that's going to be for the season pass in this trailer. It's just not very clear, but you actually end up seeing it like 4 or 5 times. And it's a black SMG that kind of has a double drum barrel sitting on the side. And we're speculating that it's going to be between a 600 and a 750 RPM SMG that's going to be the season pass exotic. So that is very exciting. So all of the weapons that we think we see in the trailer, I'm just going to list off a scout rifle, a pulse rifle, an auto rifle, a grenade launcher, a linear fusion rifle, and possibly even a sniper. So here on screen, I'm going to put the scout rifle, and then I'm going to try and put an image of a scout rifle or something that's already in the game that looks similar to the design of the weapon we're looking at from the trailer. There's a pulse rifle, there's an auto rifle, a grenade launcher, a linear fusion rifle, and this is the image of the sniper rifle. This one is kind of hard to tell. Spartacus brought up that it has a small scope and a long sort of like form, and it kind of reminds us of the Revoker. So those are the weapons that we've seen. And yeah, they're pretty much, we think it's going to be 2 sets of weapons. It really hasn't been talked a whole bunch by other streamers and people online. They're not really getting into how many weapons were actually being shown from the new DLC, but I definitely think that Bungie's actually stepped out and shown us quite a few different weapons. So the next thing I want to talk about, it's kind of almost so clear that it's impossible to see unless you're looking for it, because Bungie very specifically and very sneakily put it into the trailer during a part that was so exciting that you wouldn't have noticed it. So in the trailer, the very first Stasis super that is popped is a Titan, and he like pops his arms out, lights up, gets these awesome crystals that come out, and then he slams the ground. So then the next shot is watching this Stasis come through, and then these giant chunks of ice pop out of the ground and run into these enemies and absolutely destroy them. Obviously, it's super cool. But something I noticed going frame by frame is there's something clearly standing out in that scene, and it's a Hive crystal. And the craziest part about this is you won't see them anywhere else in any of the other trailers, but there is a Hive crystal sitting in the upper corner, kind of like the one we used. I can't remember if it was for the Rose, the Thorn, the Lumina, something like that, where we had to go through a mission, shoot Hive crystals. It's one of those crystals. And it's just sitting up there, randomly placed in this mission where we see the first stasis super popped. And really quickly, I just wanted to bring up the implications of the fact that obviously, if that Hive crystal is there, the Hive are on Europa. And it hasn't been talked about. No one has mentioned this Hive crystal, but it's there. And Bungie doesn't really do anything by accident. The trailer's only a minute long. I'm sure they scrubbed through every single frame, making sure they only showed what they wanted to show. And they also showed everything that they wanted to show. So I know that this Hive crystal was there for a reason. And I'd love to hear what you guys think the speculation on that is. So the next part of that is in the beginning of the trailer, and kind of, yeah, they're both really in the beginning of the trailer. So at the beginning of the trailer, we see the Stranger and Eris Morn and the Drifter all standing at a sort of home base location. And it's just as we're walking up, it's also showing off the Season Pass exotic, or what I think is the Season Pass exotic. And then there's another shot right after it where you can see a fallen barrier and you can see some fallen guarding that home base. And so we just kind of speculated that it could be a really cool idea if week over week you start to build a stronghold in Europa that eventually the Drifter, Eris Morn, and the Stranger would eventually hold that ground, and then we could push further and further and further into Europa. So another really interesting thing that will get to kind of our most exciting point at the end is me and Spartacus were wondering what all this red glow is under the ice of Europa. Like, what is happening under there that is causing this light to come through? Because it's in all their promotional images when they're saying, you know, go beyond the light, wield the darkness. It's always on these backgrounds that are ice with red light shining through. And spoilers, we think it's the Deepstone Crypt that is making that light. But I will go a little bit further into that when I actually start talking about the Deepstone Crypt. The last kind of random speculation I want to talk about is an image you see right at the end of the trailer. So they're kind of in this stony area, and the hunter is slamming on the ground, and he is in his stasis super because he's got his sickles in his hands. And then right next to him is the warlock holding his staff, which is in his stasis super, and he's kind of roaming forward. And then the Titan, which is so interesting, is also fully covered in stasis crystals, looking like he's in his super, but he's carrying the new exotic that they also show off in the trailer. And so we started to think, what if Titan's got a stasis super that instead of being an aggressive super is like your Titan bubble, but it's a roaming Titan bubble that allows you to, it's like an overshield. It's a stasis overshield that is super powerful and allows you to continue to carry your weapons and fight in your fight. Which would just be absolutely ridiculous and possibly game breaking. But that is kind of what we're thinking, because he's running forward in the trailer holding this weapon, and it's just like, how would he be doing that if he's fully in his super? We assume all three, because the other two are fully in their super. We assume the Titan's in his super, or at least I was. So, I mean, that is a crazy just bit of speculation, because if it's true, that is going to be absolutely wild. So now we're finally going to get to the most hopefully exciting, I mean, to me, the most exciting part, and that is the Deepstone Crypt, because Bungie was literally throwing it in our faces that the Deepstone Crypt is here, showing us about it, showing us certain sections. I realized they showed us in the last trailer a piece of the Deepstone Crypt, which is just absolutely mind-blowing, because I know it's the new raid. So the first thing I want to talk about is a piece of promotional image that Bungie gave out when they announced Beyond Light. And it was just one image, which I'll put on screen, of the Deepstone Crypt. And so we're watching this trailer, and we're kind of like, we're looking at all the abilities, we're looking at everything, and then all of a sudden we start looking at our environments. And the craziest part is we start to see similarities, and then we realize that about halfway through the trailer, there is a short clip of a warlock absolutely blasting some fallen with his staff in the Deepstone Crypt, which in my mind, that confirms that like Deepstone Crypt will be a fallen raid. because we see a warlock in the raid killing Fallen. I mean, it can't really get much more clear. And then things start to connect. Because, you know, obviously, I thought that there could be a lot of possibilities for what's actually in the Deepstone Crypt. And then we see another quick clip when they're showing off the new exotic. They don't say what it is. It looks kind of like a tractor cannon, but it shoots like shrapnel blasts. And the crazy part is there's a immune shielded Fallen that he's shooting at in what seems to be the Deepstone Crypt again. And when it comes back to that light we were talking about coming underneath, in this room are these red drone almost sort of lights that are emitting almost the exact same color lighting out of them, which is very, very interesting because this could be all the connections that are all coming together. Yeah, there's also this wild skull-faced Fallen Vandal with some swords that are also made of stasis, and I'm not even going to start trying to speculate on what the heck he's all about. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, so I kind of forgot to record this part, but there is one other kind of just interesting thing that you can notice throughout the trailer, and that is there is a new Fallen house with a new Fallen sigil, and it's actually showed 3 times in the trailer. Really early on when they're showing new Fallen environments, you see it both on the side walls, and then in the next one, it's up on top in kind of like a different angle. And then further in the trailer when they're showing the first look at the Warlock like freezing grenade, all of the Fallen are wearing these new white robes, and those robes have the sigil on it, which is really interesting because Mithrax is out here, and we got Artemis or Aramis, who whatever her name is, who's out here, and it's just like this Fallen civil war is starting to build and take place, and it's going to be really interesting to see how that transpires. There's so much in this trailer that I feel like a lot of people are just not looking at, but if you really sit and look and think about it and then kind of let your imagination go a little wild, Bungie is showing us so much. And I know Bungie doesn't do anything that's not intentional, especially in their promotions. So I just think that we have got one heck of a wild ride ahead of us, and I hope you all are really excited to go through it, because I certainly am. But that is about it. I want to thank Spartacus for, you know, sitting and watching this video with me for 4 hours so I could kind of, you know, have an idea about what this video I was making. And yeah, that's about it. If y'all want to like and subscribe, follow the channel. I plan on having way more Destiny content now that I actually have time. I have a job that provides for it. I'm really in a good spot in my life to finally start creating some awesome Destiny content. So if you like this video, like, subscribe, and if I can get 100 subscribers, I'm going to force Spartacus to be my producer for this channel so that we can always have these awesome ideas, because he really inspires me to make good content. Yeah, and that is it. This is Sid Nasty signing off. Love you bunch. Bye.
Yes, I did.